Well, good morning, folks. This is the second week of streaming in the kitchen, living room space. It is Wednesday, and you will notice as folks are coming in, also confirming that the nose works, the ears and the eyes, all that stuff works. Thank you, our friend Game Guy, for just confirming. I don't have to stress out about the technology, at least for right now. We're a little bit early today, and I will talk a little bit more about why that is. For those of you who are catching this on the replay or have to go back and watch the first part of it because you didn't know I was going early today, my bad. I also can't stay the whole hour today because I have some stuff that I have to get to do today. So rather than just cancel outright, I figured that I would just shuffle things around, and you will notice in the future that the streaming schedule may change. I may be looking for a new time slot in the near future. I don't want to give up streaming, but I just might. So as people are streaming in, though, I want to say hey to Josh Coop getting into the chat first today. Welcome. And our friend John and Ken. Hey, Ken, by the way, thank you. And if you remember, and anytime. I see Jen and Leona and Adrian and Emil sneaking in. I haven't seen him in a while. And Harold. Oh, I say that to Emil every time. He comes in when he feels like it, and I feel like I have to hassle him every time. If you are in the chat, please go and smash the thumbs ups. These, I don't know what it means. If it actually does anything at all, it just seems like that's the right thing to do. All right. So the plan today is to talk a little bit about changes coming up, and also the elephant in this space, which is another update, 2 updates, 10 updates, and how that's playing out. So in the chat, if you were in the chat, I would love to hear one, how you are. So before you post anything else, I would love just for an update, like, how are you? How was your week? Did you get anything done? If yes, awesome. And if not, like, why not? What's stopping you? Next, I want to hear if how the updates are treating you and what you plan to do in response to them. While you are industriously setting aside your caffeinated beverage or whatever you drink right now, depending on the time of where you are, go over there and type that, and I will disclose. Many of you already know this, but after having maybe made jokes about SEO Twitter lately or snide side references to them, I recently joined them. So a couple days ago, and this may have been update related, more on that, but I decided to go over and fire up an old Twitter account. And I have a Twitter account that was started for me by my employer several years ago. So it actually had a professional picture that I looked at. It was like 10 years old, and all the tweets in it were related to stuff that I don't work on now. So, but I went over there and actually discovered that I had the password for it, fired it up, and cleaned up. So cleaned up the followers, who I was following, like all of the things. And I figured, hey, like, if this is anything like YouTube, like I had like 200 followers, and I was following a couple of people, and it's like, oh, hey, maybe in a year I'll have 1,000 followers, kind of like YouTube, right? So, so I just posted something and like committed mentally that I would try to tweet something. I'm a twit now. I'm a tweeting twit. Like once a day, and not take it too seriously, and try to use it like people would use it rather than using it for marketing and such. And so I thought, oh yeah, 1,000 followers, whatever. I'll be there next year, whatever. And then a couple of people, who you are. I will shout out Niche Site Lady. I will shout out Zach. I will shout out. Oh gosh, I can't even remember. A bunch of people. Did me a solid apparently, and shared my tweet or retweeted my tweet or something. And so yeah, now I have like 1,000, not quite 1,000 followers, but it took like 3 days. And It is so funny because there's several people who are apparently on Twitter that I have talked to in the past or have interviewed for one of my YouTube channels or podcast or whatever, and I just haven't had a chance to talk to them. But now Twitter is like a kind of a neat place to catch up with them. Like I had talked to John Dykstra a handful of times a couple of years ago. I haven't talked to him much recently, but he tweeted at me and he said, "Welcome." And I was like, wow, I haven't talked to John in a while. And so it's just an interesting place to mingle. I don't know if there's going to be value necessarily for me there, but it feels like I have like joined a club that I was missing out on. So if you want to come join the club and tweet for positivity rather than for the opposite, you're welcome to join me. I see D says, wow, this is way too early. I'm so sorry, D. It just, I can't actually stream in my normal time slot. I'm a little early and I'll be shutting off a little early, but I just did not want to miss today. That's how it was. I just wanted to be here today. Going back to the chat for people who followed that, who did their homework. I think several people who are in the chat are lurking and working or just lurking. They don't want me to know that they're here, and that's okay. That is okay. Game Guy says he's mentally doing well and is prepping for his Boston vacation cruise, and we're going to mentally over the internet high five, kapow, our friend Game Guy, because we know that the reason he gets to go on this vacation is because of his efforts for this. So that is an excellent reward, and we're excited to hear more about the trip as you go and all of the rest. Jen says that she had a busy day, so not very productive. Yeah, that happens to everybody. I mean, it does happen to everybody. As far as the update, though, she says no changes yet with updates on either sites. Dork Rider, that is not a handle that is familiar to me. If you are a friend of ours who has been in the chat before, I will say welcome back and identify yourself. And if you're new, I will say welcome and thank you for participating in the chat. The chat is always the stream is always more interesting when people chat at me. Just is. I'm not that interesting. I mean, you guys are here. You know that. He said, busy week in life, no progress on sites. So I'm counting this live stream as niche site work on the log. Hey, I'm a big believer in baby steps, in like thinking of the work that needs to be done to achieve our goals like a bucket, right? The bucket doesn't have to be filled up all at once. Just if you keep throwing things in there little by little every day, eventually that thing is going to get filled up. It just might take longer. There's our friend J. Paul. What's going on, friend? Thanks for dropping in. Leona says distracted. You see the look? That's the look. Yeah, it happens to all of us. Not refocused again for today. Site is growing. That's awesome. Josh says as he's going on a hike. And I figured, Josh, if your air conditioning is still broken, you might as well go outside and do stuff outside because inside is just as hot. Trying to hit a post a day minimum average for the month. It is exhausting, especially when you have life, but well done on keeping the effort consistent. Ken says that he has finished his redesign and completed 7 posts, which is great. Mentally, he's bored. We talk about this a lot, but really the people who are successful in this business are the folks that find a way to grind it out for the longest. Like find some way to overcome, to adapt and overcome and confront challenges like that. It's not just the tech, right? It's not just who do I outsource this to? It's how do I do the same thing tomorrow that I did today? How do I make this interesting? How can I make this, how can I become or maintain my level of passion about this project, about this whole business in general? And that will be the challenge. You got to figure it out. He says, I'm about to do some quiz type posts at an attempt for something different. See, that could be one way of coping. Josh says, one day there will be AC. Yes, there will be. It will be called winter. All right, so the updates. Last week, if you were here, you will recall that I was maybe feeling like, I don't want to say depressed, but maybe not as buoyant, maybe not as enthusiasm filled, and that's because it wasn't. I had weathered the helpful content update for the most part fairly, like I didn't really notice anything, and then like the day before the stream last week, or even that day, just the Mega site that has been sensitive to this year's update. So the May update, it got caught up in it, and I thought we were on our way back, and then to have it get, you know, like elbowed, like hammer slammed again, I wasn't feeling it, and I know everybody goes through that, and I definitely was going through it. So before yesterday, before another update started rolling out this week, I was looking at potentially maybe a 20 to 25% loss in traffic, which for a site that was getting over 100,000 page views a month, I mean, yes, that's a lot, but at the same time, it's not like as bad as it could have been. And I'm going to knock on wood right now because anything could happen. But, um, I just had a couple of days of like feeling like, and then said, you know what, I'm just going to take some steps to like get back in the driver's seat of my life. And so I did those things, right? And so I feel much better this week, and I'm like going off. And then yesterday, I heard that there was another update rolling out, and I just couldn't even be bothered. I just didn't even check it. And Chris texted me this morning and he's like, "Hey, how's the update?" I'm like, "Oh, I should look." And it turns out yesterday, compared to the Tuesday before, there was a spike of an additional 25% of traffic for the day. I don't know if that will continue. I don't know what is different because I haven't done any investigation because at this point, I don't care. But it was up 25% from Tuesday last week. So if it continues, at least at that level, maybe me and the site together, because there's only, us, there's no other people. Maybe the site will go back to where it was before the whatever it is rolled out. Um, but basically, what I'd spent the last couple of days doing was sort of trying to disconnect how I was feeling just about life in general from the website, and also, anxiety about money, and I'm not married. I don't have another source of income coming in. Like, it's it. I was anxious, and um, so yeah, I mean, it could be on its way back. It could be a bump. It could be headed to the moon. Yeah, I don't know. But basically, at this point, I've just sort of pulled back my personality and persona away from connecting how I feel about myself and how successful I am or not to that website. I have lots of other stuff that is going on that is awesome. I just was really connected to that site in particular, probably because I worked on it nonstop for a year and I was super jazzed about it. I was super excited about it. I felt like this was like the vehicle, right? That I was riding, to the moon. And so to have that um, kind of putter out was kind of hard. But I think we all go through it, and I don't mind talking about it because I think everybody is going through it at least in their own way. So I think that probably end the rant. Checking the chat. Jen says that, oh, going back to the topic or the question of how do I maintain a level of passion and excitement about this business? She says that she has three main types of posts. So to keep from getting bored, she does them in cycles. So she'll do a batch of type A, then a batch of type B, and then just cycle around, which I think can be a really great idea. Dee says, "Cross your fingers that it is better than ever," and I totally agree. But in the same vein, if it doesn't just go back to where it was back in May, I'm going to be okay with it because, frankly, even if it recovers, there's no way to guarantee that in a month's time, or in November or December, that some other level will be like chink and completely changed. So how we feel as a community, as an industry, about updates, about sites with a history of being impacted by an update, I think is going to have to change. Historically, if you saw, if you were looking at a site, right, to buy, or if you were trying to sell a site, you would be really bothered if you were to see any sort of blips that looked like the site was impacted by an update, because maybe that would infer that the site, that there was some sort of trick or black hat technique, or somebody had done something wrong, to take advantage of something that Google had like reeled back in. And I think that is an older, maybe outdated view now, because Google is making changes continually. I mean, I think daily, right? And most of them we don't even know about. Probably a lot of the tweaks are so small that it just looks like Tuesday versus Wednesday, or it's inexplicable. We don't know why today was good or yesterday was not. Uh, but it's happening all the time. And so, when you get ready to go sell a site, I think that one, it should not be as big of a black mark that a site has been impacted by an update, because it's happening all the time. And for many of the reasons that are not even aimed at people who are using advantageous techniques, such as link farms, et cetera, et cetera. I think also, it's, in a way though, it's good for those of us who have sites that want to sell them in the future, because it used to be that there was this concern, right, that you would sell a site and then somebody would buy it, and then you would feel bad, right, if it got hammered in the update. You would feel maybe like, or that other person would feel like they had been like they had been taken advantage of. You created the site and then it got killed by Google in the next year. I mean, I just don't feel anymore like, for one, I don't worry about that quite so much, because it's happening to everybody, even people who are um, pillars in the industry, people who are very experienced, people who are trying to do everything or as close as they can on the up and up. It's happening. And then also it's no, it shouldn't, well, for people who are purchasing sites, who even if they're new in the industry, it should no longer be a surprise, right? It should be part of the risk that is factored in when you are buying a site at a particular multiple. I don't think anybody anymore is going to be in the position where they think they can confidently say, this site is not going to get hit by an update. It's never been hit by an update before because of XYZ. I think everybody has to plan that an update can and will happen. I think that we need to, just, if we want to comport ourselves more conservatively, which is frankly my strategy, or hedge our bets, then that's one way to deal with it. Or people can just say, yeah, I want to go like all out or get out, like throttle down. This is the time to take advantage of this, and I'm willing to take the risk. But it's an even tougher time for people who are just looking to become investors in the industry without any of the experience. And I know there's a lot of people in our industry who are doing consulting, or who are doing courses for people for buying online businesses, and those connections and those communities become ever more vital for the people who are beginners, because otherwise they may go onto one of these sites where they want to purchase something for their investment portfolio and then feel like they have been taken. But truly, if you're hanging out in the industry, you know that it's not necessarily even anybody having done anything wrong on either side. It's just that is now a risk that 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 we have to deal with. I am scrolling back to the chat. Some people are rolling in. I'm not sure if I said hey to Joanne yet, but I'm saying it now. What's going on? Hey, Zach. Zach, I've gotten to interact with Zach on the Tweetverse on the Twitter lately. Thanks for being one of the first people to tweet at me, Zach, as I try to get used to being on a member of SEO Twitter. I haven't decided necessarily what my style on Twitter should be. I think I'm funny, but I'm not sure that a lot of other people do, and I don't know if people will get my humor quite so much, but we'll see. Zach says that he got the live stream notice 10 minutes ago. Yeah, well, it's you got it 10 minutes ago because I started 15 minutes early and I have to get off this thing a little bit early today as well. So I apologize. The stream is going to bounce around a little bit in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully it will either settle back to the normal time or it may settle into a new time, or it just may be a ninja stream. I may just be a ninja streamer, and I may just sneak through and you'll just have to see if you can catch me. Sabina says, happy Wednesday. Although the mood seems somber, it is a little quiet today, and that may be my fault. We talked about the update a little bit. I also think that there are some folks that are diligently working while we're here at the stream, which is always welcome. You guys and gals are always welcome to work and listen to the stream. You know, as far as takeaways from the update, I would be curious to hear if anybody has some takeaways yet about the update. I went and I just looked at the 3 sites I'm working on right now. I have other sites that are in my portfolio, and I honestly could care less. I haven't even gone to check how they are doing. I'm not looking at them at all. They may be doing great or not, but since I'm not working on them, they're over there. The fight site, I have been working on pretty diligently in the last 2 months or so. My goal is still to get this site to 500 articles by the end of the year. There's 312 published so far, and the goal is to put up 100 on that site this month. I've done 26 so far, and even though it's already the 14th, I will say that the first week was a slow start because of the Labor Day holiday and having kids at home, and I am pretty confident that I will be able to get there. But overall, in the last 30 days, the site is up 8%. It's bounced up and down a bit through the update. I hesitate to speculate as to why it is up 8% versus why the Mega site, which is much larger, is down 10%. And I suspect, though I do not know, is one, this site has no geographical component, right? So there's been some chatter about also some updates being rolled out for the local SEO side of things, and people who are doing, location-based articles or articles targeted at specific areas, how that is shuffling. And the fight site has no local SEO type articles, and so there was nothing to shuffle as far as I'm concerned for those topics. I also think that that there may be some topical relevance, general like authority type stuff, adjustments going on here. And because that site is so tight on topic, I haven't really tried to go on shoulders and go, out like left to the right to try to expand the library on that site. So I think it's kind of just sort of cruise through the update per normal. And I think the 8% growth in the last 30 days has more to do with the 100 and some articles that I posted in the last 2 months. And I expect that that site will continue to just chug along in the next couple of months as the content indexes and starts to get traffic. The otis.global site has weathered the updates fairly well. So when the helpful content updates started rolling out, well, I'll back up for those of you who might be new to this stream, but in May, the site looked like it was ready to take off. Everything had been indexed. I had about just under 100 articles on the site, and the May update basically de-indexed everything. It's an age domain that I'm doing in partnership with Otis, and it was kind of demoralizing, but hey, carry on. And the practical impact of the updates that have just been going on recently is that all of that content indexed, and then it seemed to be getting a boost. So that site is up 60% in the last 30 days compared to where it was 30 days ago. And I expect it to continue to improve. So I'm hoping that this will be in a really good place in the next month or so. Now, the Mega site, I already talked a bit about this, and I did say that it was down 10% overall, but yesterday it jumped 25%. Now, as to why this site in particular has been adjusted, well, I have many speculations, but one, I think that the traffic that was previously lost had to do with snippets. Two, I think that some of the traffic that has been adjusted has to do with the fact that much of the content on the site is targeted at specific geographic locations that could be impacted by local SEO. So, for example, like if you were to search, I'm looking out my window because the fence is over there, fence post for sale, right? You don't put the location, you don't put, what state you're in, what city you're in, but for the most part, Google knows where you are. I mean, if you're on your phone, especially, I mean, Google knows. And so instead of serving you the best articles that generally talk about fence posts or fence making or fence selling parts, all of the things, it will serve you something local, something, Home Depot in Houston, because it knows that you're in Houston and it expects that you will go shopping for your fence posts in Houston. So I have a lot of content targeted to capture that traffic for people who don't search something specific, but Google and its paternalistic, I know better than you, omnipotent presence, I will deliver you what I think you need. A lot of that content written for specific geographic locations gets delivered to them. And I think that there is some adjusting going on with that. And the reason I think so is completely anecdotal. I've been watching the top 10, 20 articles for the site, and many of them are geographic and location, and those are shuffling on the daily. What is in the top 10 for the geographic locations are bumping in and out of the top 10 like mad. And so the next day there's some more geographic focused articles, but they're different ones. They're different ones that were there before. And so it's really hard to say what's going to be in the top 10 spots just in general. So I also think that Google may think that some of my articles are product reviews or they are product focused because they are discussing specific items, even though that it's more from the informational side. And I know that there are some adjustments going on having to do with what sorts of reviews are being posted and how they are shown. And so there's so much going on with this site in particular, and it's also very broad. I mean, it's got 1,000 articles, 1,050 around articles, and so it's very big. And there's lots of experiments on this site. So lots of clusters that, if you, they might be related to some, but not others. And some you would look at it and like, what is this doing on the same side as this other one? Because they're just not that close. And so, I've got not quite 2 years worth of experiments running on that site to see what can work and what doesn't. And so I think those clusters are bouncing around as well. But the upside is that the site is gigantic. So when when some articles go, some other of them come in and then take that spot. I mean, there's just some articles that I haven't seen at all in the top 100 for months. I'm like, hey, it's like an old friend. You're back. Like, how are you? Could you give me an update? Like, I mean, I don't even remember like writing you and posting you, but you're back. So that's great. So yes, basically last week and over the weekend, I felt like a lump. I felt out of control, like out of the driver's seat, and that really bothered me. And so I decided to spend a couple of days making a plan. I think some of my anxiety was related to the fact that updates are likely to become a way of life, that they will happen so often that Twitter will have to find something else to tweet about because it won't even be interesting. It'll be like, hey, there's an update. Hey, it's Wednesday. So what? Like seeing the sites like bounce around will no longer be this event. It will just be a day of the week. And because I am a slightly anxious person, and I also am relying upon myself to pay the bills and all of the rest, I just decided to do some more networking and make some connections and possibly do some work outside of this space offline just to hedge my bets. because, when let's face it, when you're a parent and nobody else is paying the bills for you, you're the one responsible for taking care of that. And it doesn't matter if things didn't work out well at work that day. The kids still expect their Cheerios. I mean, they ate yesterday. I don't know why it is they expect to eat again today, but they do. So the plan is, and that is one of the reasons why this stream is shifted a little bit today, is because I'm still working out, one, what I will be doing, two, when I will be doing it. And right now, the things that I want to do are primarily focused around my children. So I'm like, oh, if I'm going to work outside of the house, I'm going to do it where I can see the kids. And so that for me is two birds with one stone kind of thing. I get to do, I miss my kids because they're now in school, but I can also see them a little more at school and just have a somewhat flexible schedule. We'll see. There's a lot up in the air right now, but having sort of secured that maybe backup plan, not gonna lie, I just felt so much better, right? So now that I had like a safety net in place, then getting news about another update or people like, hey, this, like that, or whatever, I didn't feel so stressed out about it. I didn't feel like the world was coming for me. And so for me, that is one of the things that will help me, I think, continue to do this long term. So will I give myself the freedom to not meet my 100 article goal for the month? No. No matter what I do for work, or what other like my safety net, the fact is I need to get those 100 articles done. So this is my public statement of accountability. It's in the Icarus spreadsheet for those of you who are in there. I appreciate you. I've got 26 articles done for the month, and I'm planning on writing the majority of them for the rest of the month. But this is my public accountability statement. This is going to happen. I've got 2 weeks and a couple of days to get another 74 articles done, and it will be done. And I think this is just the path in the right direction. So, yes, survived updates, joined Twitter, got followers when I wasn't expecting it. Had a good day on the Mega site yesterday. Overall, I feel more positive because I've been doing a little bit more self-care. Oh, I also started training for I plan to run a jog, drag myself through a 5K by Thanksgiving. And I also think that getting some more exercise is helping with you know, the, the, the update stress, anxiety, and all the rest. So doing some self-care plus redefining sort of goals and like what I think that I want to do and can do was a really good use of my weekend. I'm going to scroll through the chat, guys. I've got probably 5 minutes to go or so. I may even stream earlier in the future. I don't know. We will see how it goes, but I'm going to check and say hi to the folks who are in the chat just because I haven't. I've got some new people in the chat. What's going on? Sonia, thank you for dropping in. How are things going for you? And hope you're weathering the updates well. Dee says that the good thing about the updates is that it puts some people off who are not willing to ride the waves. And yes, it does. It the killing off the week. Margaret, it did start early. Yes, and that's my fault. You might have to listen back to the stream. P. Morton says, good morning, vaguely Asian appearing age appropriate lady. I say good morning, and I do get that frequently because as a mixed race individual, many groups aren't sure whether they should claim me or not. I sort of could fit in one and the other, and it's very interesting to be asked, so what are you? And I'm like, what? I'm a human. I'm a person. They're like, no, like what? What are you? I'm like, human being. But people are very obsessed with knowing my ancestry. Slack. Ma says, how do we join the accountability group? There should be a link to a Google Docs, Google spreadsheet in the description below if you're looking at this on YouTube. There's no money. You just put your name in and put your goal in, and then be a good person and be supportive and say nice things to other people when they do good work, and support them when they don't, and then do the work. So I will say that this spreadsheet is not for people who need me to motivate them. This is my personal, I go like this because there's another, the spreadsheet, there's the monitors over there. So I'm putting my hand over there. That thing over there is my personal accountability timeline. And you are invited to do it with me. But it is not the place where if you're expecting like some memes or for me to like, like rub your shoulders and like get you to the computer, that is not that place. That is not that place at all. I like people who want to do the work. They want to go with me. You are welcome. You are so welcome. And it doesn't work for everybody. It's not good for everybody. That's good for me. The grind be real. The grind is real. Hey, Eric, what's going on? Josh says, so far in September, things are quiet. Windblade ZX says hi, and then he says hi with many, many, many eyes. And say hello. How's it going? Pete says, is September core update, no change so far. Congratulations. That is good to hear. I would love to hear things just continue on the up. Pete Morton says, my E-Trade account seems to be pulling out the knife at the moment. That happens. I hear that happens often, actually, and that it's one of those buckle up situations right now if you're into trading in the stock market. Although that could be just what I get served on YouTube. Basically, every thumbnail on YouTube that has to do about the stock market has flames on it. They all have flames on it. And I think that they need to come up with something new that now starts to stick out, because the flames no longer inspire me to do anything. Blog Biller Andy. What's going on, Andy? Thanks for dropping in the chat. Graham, how's it going? Sabina says that she hasn't checked any stats, and that's great. In fact, don't look. It's completely unnecessary. Just if you're sure that the technology is working, just don't look unless you absolutely have to. She says, once she delivers the baby, learn the new job, I'll be back at it. Hey, take care of your family, take care of yourself. It will be there. That is the joy of this, is that it will be there when you're ready to come back to it. Scrolling. Morton says that he sent his resume to 2 places today after 14 months of retirement to appease the wife. Is she tired of you already? Sometimes that happens. Jen says that she's trying to write shorter articles when it makes sense, and that helps get more content out. Yes, that is something that a lot of people are doing now, and we will have to see after, now that the helpful content update has rolled out, whether those articles will be more successful than some of the long form content. I think it's good to try new things and see what happens. Folks, I'm definitely going to be behind on the chat, and there are folks rolling in that that I haven't had a chance to say hi to. I see Maeve, and I see Mersic, and I see some messages being adjusted, but folks, I hope to be back here next Wednesday. Probably not necessarily the same time, but definitely the same channel. I will do my best to get the thumbnail up and get things scheduled a little bit earlier, so it's not as much as a surprise, but I can't guarantee that. Some of you may just be catching the live stream on the replay as I get myself settled, but I will say that I am committed to getting to the goals, and I hope you are too. And I look forward to catching up with you next week. And I hope to report also that I got a whole bunch of stuff done, and to hear from that you've done the same. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great Wednesday. Be productive. I'll see you soon. All right.